Merry Christmas to all. It's the 12th day of Lorcana. It's sort of Christmas Day. I'm recording this on the 26th. It's 11 minutes past midnight. But I spent all day with family. I missed the cutoff. I was hoping to do a huge unboxing of a bunch of different booster packs. But we're going to start today's video with a gift that I received from my friend that got me into Lorcana. So he sent me some, I guess, chocolate cookies. He Wikipedia'd it and said this is the most, I guess, the most gifted item in Japan. I've never heard of it, but it's also from Hokkaido. So it's like telling a person in California, this is the most gifted item in Japan because it's from Maine. You know, it's like I'm from California. I don't know anything about Maine. Their products usually don't make it down here. So unfortunately, it's a well thought out. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to trying it, but I've never even heard of it. So I think the most gifted item that I would know of is like red bean mochi. It's a bunch of different mochi you could get. And there's some that are nationally known. So that's probably what I know of. Just because geographically it's in a different area. But here's the big thing. He 3D printed me a deck box that's decorated with Disney Lorcana stuff. I have the Disney Lorcana Ravensburger page open for instructions. But if I'm reading that, I'm not looking at the video while I'm narrating it. So I think I'll just look at the video. This is to replace... I know some people use dice. I think this is to count how many turns you've taken or moves you've made. Which is really cool that he 3D printed it. I don't know if he made the CAD file, because he said he was making this for a bunch of friends, or if somebody posted it somewhere and he saw it. I mean, he's smart enough to actually make it, so he might have made the CAD files too. But we got damage and defense markers. I'm assuming that's what it is, because it looks like an explosion. It looks like a shield. So damage and defense markers. I always wondered why it only went up or down to 6, since I haven't played. And then we have different color markers. That's gotta play a part, right? Because the starter decks come in emerald, not cobalt, I forget. Sapphire? Yeah, sapphire, amber, and steel. So I think that's what those are for. I wonder, I didn't even try. I wonder if the colors on the box pop off. That's what the little plus signs on the back is for. Maybe it pops on and off, so you can see what colors you have in your deck box. Sorry man, I didn't try it. I don't handle a lot of 3D prints. I was there when 3D printing was starting. You know, when we had it in our engineering building, or I would go over to Lowe's, because Lowe's used to have 3D printer, oh, was it Home Depot? We used to have 3D printer machines, so you could take your file, plug it in, come back and pay for it. But it used to break all the time, so you had to be extra gentle with it. I know it's been a decade since, or more than a decade since I was doing that, so I don't know about the home 3D printing, if it's gotten any better. So yeah, I just didn't want to be rough with the present you gave me, but thank you so much. It's a great present, and that's going to be my main deck box if I play. That's what I'm going to use. And then here's the last sleeve. This is from the first chapter. It's the Mickey Mouse sleeve. And then I was just showing off the edges. As we talked about before, people were complaining that the edges were a little rough. It looks fine to me, so I guess I got lucky with the proper cut. It is very snug for these cards, so I'm always hesitant to push cards in, and it's a harrowing experience to take them out, wondering if you're scratching the card or bending the card, even though you will see I am opening up 8 packs, and most of them are just pennies. So if I was going to use those Disney sleeves for playing, it wouldn't matter too much if I scuffed them trying to get them in and out. And there was a commenter on a video from 2 days ago that asked me to keep weighing these blister packs and the sleeves and everything I could, so I'm planning on doing it. This, like I said before, this series is going to go well into 2024. You'll see when I open these 8 blister packs, or 8 booster packs. A lot of them are repeats. I think I've got most of them. They say 204, but you start with, I guess, less than 60 in your starter deck, the starter pack. And with so many boosters I bought, it's rare that I find a card that I haven't seen before. So, the odd thing that I noticed was that when I was opening up these boosters, the ones I got in the D100 box didn't split down the middle, and I thought it was just those cards from the Disney 100 collection, that special edition box. But today, for I think the first time, from these blister cardboard packs that I picked up at Barnes & Noble and Target, I'm starting to find these packs that don't split open in the middle. And there's just no way for me to open it without like tearing and maybe bending the cards. So instead of doing that, I cut a little slit in the middle with an X-Acto knife, hoping that I don't damage the card. So yeah, that's when I first started noticing. I've been showing the back of these booster packs after I weigh them, and I've been pointing at the date. But then when I lift the flap, I'm also showing that. I'm assuming they all have different names, right? I'm assuming those are the print facilities, even though they say names. It looks like full names. Like one says Matthew, the other one says Nicholas or something like that. So I can't tell if that's the printing facility that decided to put their name as their formal, government name, or if it's the person who packaged it. But depending on whose name is on the package, changes how these things rip open. So I might go on, see if I can find it on Reddit, what the differences are, because all I saw for the past 2 weeks, when I started this hobby 2 weeks ago, and I was looking into all of this, it's just people talking about the date, it's a reprint or not. So see, I point at the date. After I weigh it, I'm going to flip open that middle crease, and there's a name under there. And see, on this one, it's got a green, is that a recycle icon? The other ones have white recycle icons in different spots. So apparently these are all coming from different facilities. So I guess that's a bad thing for me right now, since I'm not playing the game. I'm just collecting, and I'm trying to find the enchanted cards and the rare cards, legendaries. I'm really diluting my chances and diluting the pool because I am getting all these packs from different places. So I'm assuming if it's all from the same places in sequential order, I don't know actually. I'm assuming that they will put in enchanted cards at a certain rate per packing facility. But since I'm not getting it all in sequential order, I'm getting it random, I am making it even more random and diluting my chances of pulling in enchanted. There were a few cards that I haven't seen before, like this one from Mulan. Looks really cool, I mean, it's worth more than 6 cents like all the other cards. And then this one, $11.44. Why? Is it a really good card? Or is it super rare? I don't know. The artwork didn't wow me, so it can't be, I'm gonna say it can't be the artwork. It's gotta be worth it because of rarity, or because of demand, because it's a good card. So eventually we'll play it. Right now we're just opening it. And let me tell you, this is... So I've been editing. I've edited for TV stations. I've edited in high school. That's when I started. You gotta understand, when I first started editing videos, I started old school. I was working with negatives, splicing and cutting, pasting it together. I was around when video editing was first introduced, so I did negatives. I did VHS editing on these. It's a huge, like 2 decks. You put video in one side, video in the other side. And you got like fast forward, rewind wheels. And it was a huge thing that took a whole desk. And then we transitioned over to digital editing. I can't remember what the device was called. It was a huge blue computer machine, like straight blue, not sky blue or dark blue, just blue, about the size of your torso, so maybe over 2 feet, 3 feet by 3 feet. It was a square, huge heavy PC machine that could barely do any graphics, even like a text overlay like you see at the bottom there. Oh, this was cool, the Stitch Rockstar. I think that's my second or third favorite card. In any case, when we switched to digital, it was called a Trinity? Something like that machine. I think it started with a T. So that's my background. I've been editing videos for decades. And I bought an iPad because I wanted to, A, use it as an editing machine, and B, just be able to watch entertainment, consume videos on a bigger screen with something that had larger speakers. So I've only been using it to consume media, and then when we started this 12 Days of Lorcana, I decided this is the time I'm going to switch to editing on an iPad, because now I've been editing videos. I did it for work or for myself, with publishing videos for Logitech and everybody else. I was doing it with Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas, and the one that I almost started on, I did it for like 2 videos, was DaVinci, because it was open source. So that's the set of stuff I was using. Then for my gaming videos, I was doing it all on the PlayStation 5. The, what is it called? Share Factory app on the PlayStation 5. It's excellent. If you just need basic video editing and you have a PlayStation controller, you can use that middle just like you use a trackpad on a laptop, or this, I got an iPad with a Magic Keyboard that has a trackpad. It's just like that on a PlayStation controller. Almost everything you need for basic video editing is in there, and it's perfect. Whoever made that Share Factory editing video app, they need a raise. They nailed it. So when I moved over to the iPad, I saw MKBHD was praising up this iMovie. I think I used iMovie in Mac OS 10 when 10 was first introduced. Not this version of Yosemite or whatever we're on now. Like way back in the day when 10 was first introduced. When iMovie was first introduced, I guess. And it was garbage back then. It was worse than Windows Movie Editor and Microsoft XP. So, but MKBHD was recommending it in a couple different videos, so I thought, okay, this is the time. I'm going to switch my workflow. We're going to do all the video editing on an iPad. Since they have the M1 iPad now, well, they're now up to M3 starting this year, but I bought this over a year ago, so I bought the M1 version, and the 12.9 inch, I thought the screen was big enough for video editing, it's fast enough. I'm going on this whole tangent to essentially just give you a review. It's still crap, this iMovie. It's baffling how bad it is. Basic functions are hidden away or non-existent. I had to stop multiple times just to Google, how do you do this? You know, like, I added an overlay and I just wanted it as a second file on top of my current file. But when you try to add it in, like, it didn't auto drop in. There's no second layer that you can add in like any other video editor. So you have to hit the 3 dots for the mini menu and choose picture in picture and then edit it, but you can't resize without holding scale. You know, like, it has to hold the same aspect ratio, which sucks. So when you see this 12 Days of Lorcana at the beginning, you see that wreath and it covers half the screen. I just wanted it to cover the top 10% of the screen and just be festive, but can't do that in iMovie. I googled it a lot just to make double check, triple check, make sure I couldn't do it. But even that menu is hidden, and then you can't add a transition to that layer, which blew my mind. So I just kind of ignored it, and then if you see the intros of these 12 Days of Lorcana, you'll see it'll fade into the next scenes on some of those videos, but the wreath just kind of pops and just goes away because there's just no way to edit it. Adding audio, like this narration track, is a mess too. You have to drop in the file via the audio menu. Thankfully, they have a way to browse the files on your iPad through that audio menu. I bet you they didn't have it a couple years ago. You had to go through iTunes or, you know, whatever Apple offers. So you have to drop it in, but you can't add multiple tracks. So if I want to add the Christmas music, it doesn't drop in as a second track or a third track like it does in every other digital editor. It just goes to the end of your current audio file and is the next track on the video. So the features are hidden, so I had to hold my finger on there, you know, essentially right-clicking on the screen, and then there's an option that's called foreground. It doesn't say track 2 or track 3, it's just foreground, and that puts it up as a track 1, and then your music can drop in a track 2. There was somehow I made a mistake, I think because I was trying to time slip an audio. It looked like it dropped down to a track 3, but I can't tell if it was just showing me an extra space for editing the audio. Oh, if I hit enter, it just disappeared and I went to just track 1 and track 2. There are so many annoyances with this. I cannot recommend editing on an iPad using iMovie. Maybe if I paid for Final Cut, because Final Cut is now a subscription service. You can't just pay for the app. You have to pay monthly. Maybe if I did that, that'd be closer to, you know, Premiere Pro. But this was a big mistake. Hundreds of dollars wasted on buying an iPad. I do not recommend it. Plus, when you try to save an iMovie file, unlike Adobe, it doesn't link to your original video files, it makes a copy. So 12 Days of Lorcana, on day 10 I ran out of space because it was taking my 4K videos, copying it, and then when you export it, it makes another copy over into iPhotos. So then you end up with 3 copies of the same, you know, 5-6 gig file. Oh man. So this was a whole tangent, which I'm going to use as my review. iMovie is one of the worst things you can edit on. iPad is one of the worst things you can edit on, especially because I try to use a second monitor. Boy, iMovie hates to work with mice. You plug in a mouse and keyboard, and everything becomes exponentially harder to use. It wants a trackpad, and it wants a touchscreen. So do not use iMovie. Awful, awful, awful piece of software. Anyway, we're nearing the end of my unpacking, so maybe you were watching these. Oh yeah, this cold foil from Mickey Mouse was awesome. I've had one before, I believe. Maybe the second day of the 12 Days of Lorcana. I like how they put the foil right on his necklace. I think I pointed out here too. You see that? Really cool idea. I thought this card would be worth a lot more. I just didn't remember how much it cost. Still, no enchanted. But got one more pack to go for the 12 Days of Lorcana. And then I think in 2024 we might start the new year off with Magic the Gathering. I got 2 Doctor Who starter packs. Commander decks is what they call them. Maybe they have something separate for starter packs. But I got 2 Doctor Who Magic the Gathering Commander decks. I guess there will be no surprise. I don't think they come with any boosters like Lorcana does. But we have those. We have the Lord of the Rings coming in. We have 2 random Magic the Gathering booster packs that were half off on clearance at Best Buy. So I got those coming in. So we'll mix that in. But we still have a bunch of Chapter 1 Lorcana booster packs. Chapter 2, Floodborn booster packs. And then it's actually the end of the first week of March, I believe, is the 3rd chapter. And I think we learned our lesson. With the 3rd chapter, we'll probably skip the starter decks and just buy a box of the booster packs. Maybe, I think they come in 24. So if we can't find it and we have to buy it loose, we'll probably just stop at 20, because I have so many repeats. It makes a lot more sense to just buy the cards I need from people once the price goes down. So I think that's the plan for Chapter 3. But then we'll end up mixing that in with other unboxings. This entire 2024 is just going to be filled to the brim with unboxings. So if that's what you're here for, you want the weights, you want the gambling without sinking your money into it. I've already sunk my money into it. I'm not a gambler, so at least give me some views. If you like this, share it. Thanks for watching. The last card I get, man, I love Hercules too. That's one of my other favorite Disney movies. So I think I've gotten this though, day 4 or 5 of the 12 Days of Lorcana. Doesn't matter. I like it, so I'm gonna keep that as a spare. Make sure I put it on top loader. Anyway, thanks for following along for these 12 Days of Lorcana. Merry Christmas to everybody, and have a Happy New Year.